Hey everybody, this is Ahmed Mosley here with a very interesting update regarding the situation of Nintendo in the Middle East. So we recently, I think it's been maybe 2 or 3 months that it came to my attention that now we have sort of an official presence here, or Nintendo has an official presence in the Middle East. They have an official Facebook page, or 2 official Facebook pages actually, which I follow, Nintendo 3DS Middle East and Street Pass Middle East. So the Street Pass Middle East just released an update today that states that the ambassador program will start at May 20th in the UAE and will be available across the Middle East starting May 25th. So you obviously all US users know the ambassador program as purchasing the 3DS before the price drop grants you a bunch of downloaded free titles from the Nintendo library and the Game Boy Advance library. So as soon as they made that news present in their official page, I was kind of surprised because to my knowledge, as of maybe 2 or 3 weeks, we did not have an official eShop yet. So I asked them, how can we download these official titles if you don't have the eShop, or the eShop isn't present yet? So he answered, the guy replied, or whoever was responsible for that page replied to me and said that we do have actually an eShop in the Middle East, and it's available in Saudi Arabia and UAE, and it will start coming across all other countries as time passes. So that obviously piqued my interest. I asked a couple of follow-up questions, or what are the repercussions? Can I switch easily between the two stores? Will any of my downloads be inactivated? Stuff like that. And the general thing that I gathered is you can switch easily, and none of your downloads will be deactivated from the US shop. So you guys, just so you guys get more information, even though this 3DS is Middle Eastern based, it is actually a US 3DS in a sense that it plays US games and games from the Middle East. So it is a US 3DS by region by default. So every time we asked for a Middle Eastern 3DS shop, the bypass was they told us you have to make a 3D to make a US based. You have to create it in the US because there's no support in the Middle East. That was before, obviously. So they actually recommended us to create a US shop, and we could buy the Nintendo points card to buy actual games for the shop. So now that we know that we do have now, you can see in front of you, this is the actual Middle Eastern 3DS eShop. I was really curious. I had to switch my region, and the only repercussions that you have is any of your pending downloads turn into it's not how can I say it? Your pending downloads can get cancelled, the downloads that you have on your US shop, and any titles that were in your wish list may be deleted if they're not available in the eShop of the Middle East. So yeah, that's what basically happened. And the other thing that they did also is they unlinked my Club Nintendo account. I have a US Club Nintendo account because I do buy US based games, obviously. So they unlinked it, and immediately they said because my Club Nintendo account isn't compatible with the Middle Eastern shop. So when I switch back to the US, I'll have to link it once again. So anyway, yeah, that's the only repercussions. Other than that, it's the shop is functional, I could say, but it did give me a warning before accessing the shop. If you could, let me just scroll to that warning. It's in the news section and gives you a welcome title. And see, they basically, this is all a placeholder for the ambassador titles, nothing more, nothing less. There are no. It says you have access to your shop whenever you're connected. Although purchases are not available in your region, we're providing selected free content via the Nintendo eShop for you to enjoy, and that free content obviously pertains to the upcoming ambassador games. So far there are no titles available whatsoever. Let me just show you here. Nothing in the chart. I want to give you anything. If you go to recent arrivals and go to new software, it won't give you anything, see? It only gives you like placeholders basically, and they're all unavailable. No downloaded titles yet. as I said, it's a bit disappointing, but as long as it gave me that warning beforehand, I'm okay with it. And a lot of people obviously will be more than okay with it, especially the guys who bought this 3DS before the price drop cutoff. And even more exciting news is, I'm trying to assume here, but I'm not really sure 100%, is we dropped our prices a bit later than the US and the worldwide. So a lot of people have obviously a bigger window of opportunity to be eligible for these select free downloaded ambassador titles, which is a really cool thing actually. So yeah, even though it's a placeholder, it's at least something. There's activity going on. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And when I go to my you could add funds. Obviously, you could use your now the added perk is as soon as they start putting in titles to the Middle Eastern region, you could use your own credit card. You don't need to depend on the points, which is a cool thing, obviously. So if I go to settings and go to my your downloads, it actually displays all the downloads that I did on my US shop, but I can't re-download them here, obviously, because nothing is available yet. But it does display the receipt and does display the download itself. Hopefully I could get this to connect. Another negative that I see so far is the Middle Eastern 3DS shop is sort of slow. The US shop is faster, which is kind of ironic because we're living really away from the US. So yeah, see, it says update available, but I can't even download it, see? It gives me all the list, the things that I've downloaded. Oh, I could actually download the E3 video, so that I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. So yeah, the other thing, the only videos you could re-download, but you can't download anything else. Even though, ironically, when you go to the video section and you won't see any of these videos displayed for download. So, hey, look at this. So I could actually, technically, see, this is weird because, you know, let me explain this further. These are the ambassador titles. How did I download them? That's a pretty interesting question. I didn't technically lie or do anything wrong. It's, I obviously assumed, and I assumed correctly, that even though this 3DS is not produced for mass market in the US, it's still a US based 3DS, right? So I used my code that's or the 3DS, what's it called, not the code, the license code, the license number for the 3DS, used it in the US shop so I could be qualified for the ambassador titles, and it worked. Nobody said anything, and Nintendo was actually, they sent me an email, reconfirmed that you're qualified for the ambassador program. And so technically, even though the code is US based, so I didn't do anything wrong. I got these ambassador titles when I was using my US shop, and my code that I used for the 3DS worked flawlessly, didn't have any problem. So you can see here the ambassador titles are available in the Middle Eastern 3DS shop, because see, I could update them. Update available. So I could actually update all these. So I could actually download them, technically. Right? At least I think so. Yeah, I can update them, technically. What happens if I do this? But see, only the Nintendo titles. The Game Boy Advance titles are not available yet, which is really interesting. So that's interesting. You're seeing all the live info in front of you, and it gives you, see, I got Mutant Muds here. See, all the downloads, everything I downloaded from the US shop is available here, but I can't re-download it. They could only give me the software info. They give me the list itself. The only thing I can re-download is, or update, is actually these games here, the Nintendo titles. So let's try maybe updating one of them, for example. Something I don't care about, so I don't, I think, Donkey Kong Jr. Let's see what happens if I do this. We're doing this live in front of you, see what happens. And as you can see here, it's a slow 3DS. Let's update. See what happens. I'm curious if it works or not. Download now. Let's see if it works. This is like a test. Let's see if the Middle Eastern 3DS shop is actually running. So I'm basically circumventing right now the technicalities, because the actual game is where it's actually downloading. See, this should be available at May 20 or May 25th, but I'm actually downloading it right now, and it worked. So yeah, it's a placeholder, but it's functional. It's functional. Let's see what happens when I go to the home menu. Let's look for it. It's in the nest, I think. It's here. Where is it? It's here, but yeah, I'm just trying to be sure. Did it repeat itself or download itself twice? Just checking all the virtual, just, you know, checking all sides here. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it didn't download itself twice. So what's the update? I don't understand. I wonder what. Just want to be sure what kind of update did it download, because as you know, the ambassador titles, most of them anyway, are not, you can't play 2 players. And I think that's the same thing here, but it's just functional. So I don't know what did it update, because, you know, I don't see anything significant. I think the only thing that I'm assuming that it updated is it perhaps, I'm just assuming here, maybe it switched my region, if you could say, like the 3DS game. I downloaded this title off the US shop, so when I'm updating it in the Middle Eastern shop, it switches my ambassador region for this title in particular to the Middle Eastern region. Not really sure. Just assuming here, talking out of my butt or something. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. At least it worked, as you can see. I downloaded the title live in front of you guys, or updated it live, and the servers are there, and they're sending information. But you're limited to what you can and can't download. So yeah, that's the basic update with Nintendo in the Middle East, and it's improving. It's there, but it's still a placeholder. But at least we do have Facebook pages, and the servers are working for the 3DS, and I'm looking forward to what they're going to do with the Wii U. Hopefully we have a worldwide eShop or Wii U shop launch. I know that the system will be available here the same day as the US, and the price will be just as good, because, you know, long ago, if I'm gonna, perhaps maybe I'll talk about it in a later video. And you know, there's another thing that's interesting, by the way, that my balance is actually carried from the US shop, which is interesting. I'm wondering if US based points card codes actually work for the Middle Eastern shop. Not really sure, but I would say yeah, I would say most likely they are cross compatible, if I'm assuming correctly. But yeah, anyway, this is all good news all around, and even though it's a placeholder, it looks a bit disappointing, a bit bare-boned, it's still something. At least there's something going on, there's activity. Because like I said, long ago, or not long ago, ever since the 90s, we've never gotten official Nintendo support from here. We depended on, they actually threw all duties to Nintendo of Europe, and Nintendo of Europe were not supportive at all. We barely got any games, we barely got any systems here. Unless you're talking about certain regions, maybe certain regions like the UAE, Lebanon, you know, these areas, they do have Virgin Megastore, and I think these are the biggest. Virgin Megastore, from my experience of traveling around the Middle East, and even here now in Saudi Arabia, from my experience, they're the biggest supporters of Nintendo of Europe, or Nintendo of Europe actually ships titles to them for us to buy. And if you look outside of Virgin Megastores, Jarir, you won't find Nintendo or European games, even though Europe should be the official distributors. But ever since UAE actually got US support, they sort of expanded, because technically the Middle East is a cross region area. We're both PAL NTSC. We're not deviated toward a certain side. We've always been, in terms of games at least, and I would say also electronics, we've been all our lives we've been down the middle, PAL and NTSC. We're trying to lean toward the PAL region now, but at the same time, as you can see, Nintendo here, the official Middle Eastern support is coming out of a US-based title, a US-based system. And this also has a bit of, it's sort of a hybrid here, because this is a US-based system, but we do actually have a 220 plug. Let me show you we're all going standard here. So yeah, see, this is the 3DS charger that comes with the 3DS that we get. So cool stuff actually, and I'm looking forward to more in the future. And signing off for now.